Hello, Jim Zwers.
Hello, Lynn.
Thank you for coming to your webcam today and doing a talk with me via our fancy webcams. I appreciate that. I know there's a lot going on, and I know that you have, as you know, in my heart, one of the best schools around, Clearwater Academy International, where you are the head of school. And I can only imagine that these were unprecedented challenges that you faced for your staff, for you, for all the parents and the families. And it's a very close-knit group, your group. So why don't you tell us a few things?
No, for sure. So now what are we? We're about 10 days into this officially. And for us and our families, it was a little bit, it's a little longer because we actually had our spring break a little earlier than most of the county.
Right.
We had our spring break, and then we had, the coronavirus shutdown, right? So it's almost like for some of our families have been like, kids at home for a whole week longer. We've been flat out on delivering to our students through online solutions and homework programs and different things like that. Really, the thing has been just sort of adjusting what we do to, a distance learning situation, right? It's the same, math isn't changing, right? Reading isn't changing,
it's true.
That's changing. It's just the distance between the teacher and the student is changing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're coping with. And so it's going to be great. Like yesterday, or what is this? Monday, we had a staff meeting with 35 people all online. It was real great. Looked like the extended Brady Bunch. And then and then right after we finished our staff meeting, teachers were jumping on with their students, and I had preschoolers and kindergartners doing group video sessions and stuff like that. It's been really, really exciting to see how everybody's just jumping in and getting done what needs to be done.
You know what's really cool about that too? I was thinking of the mom who maybe just during the course of her life doesn't have to use a lot of technology. And now, it kind of like it may have started as an ice water dip, but I think going forward, we're going to learn that, it really isn't so daunting or hard to get into. And who knows what the future will bring. We clearly have been tested to put things online and trust the cloud or whatever we may have had little like fears or stops. I think it's so exciting too on another front where all these people are just finding the time to be more philanthropic with their skills. That company that does the language training that starts with an R, they are like offering stuff for free. So if you have time on your hands and you wanted to learn Italian, you can do that now.
Yep. I mean, a couple different things. First of all, how great are people? Honestly, everybody's like, oh, it's Armageddon, it's going to be terrible, it's looting in the streets. Nope. People are being civilized, they're helping each other out, they're doing what needs to be done, they're being cooperative. It's just people are just great.
I love it.
I know, but it's so true. It's people are just cool. It's so funny. I travel a lot, right? So one of the things is always like, oh, this place is dangerous. Oh, be careful here and stuff like that. And you don't want to be stupid. You don't want to be having a wallet hanging out of your pocket and stuff like that. But at the same time, as of this trip, right, I've been to 56 different countries, and I've only been I would say attacked or tried to be robbed twice, and one of those was in America. Okay, right. So one of them was in America, and one was in Rome, but that was not a big deal. It was an easily avoided situation. But that's 56 countries where nothing but good stuff happened to me.
And you know what? Even though that happened in Rome, there's no way you would take that trip away. The beauty of Rome, the antiquities. It's like an outdoor museum. So what country were you in recently?
I was in India, the Maldives Islands, and Sri Lanka. It was 2 weeks. I was on the ground for 10 days, and during that time I did 9 seminars.
Wow.
I spoke at 3 different universities, spoke to a couple parenting groups, spoke to some schools, spoke to students, spoke to educators, all different audiences. It was pretty fun.
And you know what you said at the end? People are great.
People are great.
Did you find any cultural differences that maybe you were able to impart to them that maybe was data they had that was to the contrary, that was in a good light for either America or?
So I've spoken specifically on parenting in these countries, in Sweden, Denmark. I had seminars there on that a couple of years ago, in China, all over the U.S., different places. And the remarkable similarity that parents have with their children is uncanny. It is the same problems everywhere. How do I get my kid to eat? How do I get him to, how do I get him to get up in the morning? So I was in the Maldives Islands, and the Maldives Islands are like a Muslim country, right? Like I'm talking about like a Muslim government, okay? So Maldives Islands, gorgeous, gorgeous islands. It's a collection of, I don't know, hundreds of islands. I don't know how many. And so there's a couple main islands where all the city and government and stuff is. And then there's all these remote islands. And on all these remote islands, you have to take a boat or like a seaplane to get to them. And those are resorts. So on those resorts, you've got like a Hilton resort, and they own the whole island.
Gotcha.
Or you've got another resort, and they own the whole island, right? But on the main part of the country, like the first thing when you're coming into the country, there's restrictions that you can't bring in alcohol because it's a Muslim country. You can't bring in pork products. You can't bring in drugs are highly forbidden. Like when I went into Sri Lanka, there was a sign there that said, like, if you are importing drugs, you are subject to the death penalty. Whoa, okay, this is like
serious business.
Yeah, but then anyway, so you're going to Maldives Island, and then on these little islands where the resorts are, they have leniency, you can drink and stuff like that on the resorts, but not in the main city or whatever. But anyway, so it's a Muslim country, very different culture, very different history, very different this. I do this parenting seminar. How do I get my kid off the phone? How do I get him to bed? How do I, literally, they could be a bunch of Americans. It was so funny. But at the same time, I will say, of all the traveling I've done, this was probably the most different in terms of culture.
Yeah.
And particularly with India and Sri Lanka, India, very Hindu based, and so many temples and so many religious idols around, and just you can go to Europe and be like, okay, it's a different language, the food's a bit different, but as an American, you kind of get around. You go to like these countries, you are in a different country.
No kidding.
Very different.
Told me you had a really good tour guide, for lack of a better word. Your host guy.
Yeah, my host. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things you said to me was, and I really wanted people to hear this. He told you that, and I might paraphrase it so you can correct it, but that his job and what he wanted was for you to love his country to the point where you didn't want to leave, or you wanted to come back. Minimally, you wanted to come back.
Absolutely. Now, just to correct you, it was a woman.
It was a woman, sorry.
A woman, yes. Yeah, Bhavani Sundar. She owns two educational facilities. They use study technology similar to what we use at Clearwater Academy. And she has a center in Sri Lanka, which is an island. It used to be called Ceylon, and now it's called Sri Lanka. That's the traditional name. And then she has another one on the east coast of India. So she has these two study centers. And so she had invited me there. She had organized the different lectures and seminars, and was the most amazing host ever. Right?
Wow.
So as soon as I landed, she's arranging all my transportation, she's arranging all my hotels, arranging all my meals, taking me sightseeing, from morning to night.
You also said that she made sure that she even made sure that you had your souvenirs.
Yeah, every time I felt like a child. I felt like when your grandmother takes you out someplace and she's like, "Hey, you want this? You want one of these? You want one of these?" Like every time we went, she was buying me stuff, which was so sweet.
How cute!
This is my Ganesh Hindu idol. So this is Ganesh, the son of Shiva, the main god, and he is. There's a whole story about him, but he's like the god of goodwill or good fortune. So if you're asking for something and you're going to pray to a god, you'll usually pray to him first to kind of grease the wheels a bit, make sure you're in a good situation, and then go to the main god. And just,
when in doubt, go to Ganesh.
So exactly.
So tell me also, I know that you were doing a big thing recently with Ukraine. You canceled your trip. You didn't go. You did it all via webcams and such. How did that go, and how was the attendance?
Yeah, so like one of the things I do, one of my missions in life is to really reinvent education on a large scale. So Clearwater Academy has been a great sort of laboratory where we've been able to pilot and innovate a lot of educational techniques and such. So I get the opportunity to kind of share a lot of our successful actions around the world with other educators and stuff. And that's really my favorite audience. I love to talk to other educators. And in Ukraine last year, I did do that. I got a chance to speak to a lot of different people over there. I was there in June, spoke to a bunch of educational groups, and then went back in October, spoke to more educators at that trip. And this what happened recently wasn't so much a planned trip or something, but we did do sort of some online live streaming with a group in Ukraine there, English Prime, which is a very, very large English as a second language training program.
Nice.
Centered in Kiev, Ukraine. We did a live stream last week, and it was really popular. We had about, over 1,000 people on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jim.
It was like my people, their people, and like it was pretty cool. So that
all
was
the great people.
All the great people, all the best people. So that was fun to kind of did that. We did that through Instagram, and so we did that. And we just did another one an hour ago. We did another seminar. I don't know how many people were on it. The first one was more sort of more general. Hey, what's going on? It was kind of like more for their audience in terms of what's going on in America, what's going on in Europe, and just kind of talking about the news. And it's fun too because I have a lot of people now from India and Sri Lanka who now follow me on Facebook and Instagram too. So it's like this cool.
Nice.
Kind of cool, yeah. Yeah, and then today was kind of cool because just to have fun because there's so much, there's so much
seriousness.
And then just exaggerate.
It's heavy,
There are people who are just going to be very negative and there's nothing we can do and my life is ruined now. And then there are those who are going to say, what opportunities is this creating for us? How do we take advantage of those opportunities? And how do we come out of this stronger than we were before? And
yes.
I think that's something for all of us to kind of keep in mind. Like, yes, there's some weird, tough challenges, but at the same time, there's also opportunities that are popping up. So we got to kind of keep alert for those things.
And that's right. And you're not going to be alert to it if you're in the doldrums and you're like gloom and doom. And there's no way a person can create through that. So, step one, if you ask me, is like take a walk, right. Count your blessings, do all those things that your mom and your grandma told you, and concentrate on what's important. So then calm yourself down and then look at it as an opportunity. And we are in a changing world. It's never staying the same. So,
No, get used to change because it's the only constant, right?
That's right. It's the only constant.
But you're always so upbeat. What's your secret?
Oh, you're very sweet. I really had a good mom. I had a good mom who embraced and acknowledged and really fostered being kind and being friendly. And it's much easier to smile than be, puss-faced, as she would call it. And I feel better. I feel younger and I feel happier when I'm smiling. So thank you for that.
Yeah, sure.
So people are great, Mr. Zwers. So tell me about your book because I'm putting you on the spot, but I want to know about your book.
Yeah. So I wrote this a little bit ago. It's called Blazing Your Path Through Life, and it's available on Amazon. So what it is it's a collection of sort of speeches and essays that I've given over the years and kind of compiled into a single thing. And it's all different subjects about, kind of motivational stuff, things, viewpoint on life, again, positivity, different things like this. And the idea isn't to be read sort of in a linear way, but sort of like maybe jump around on different topics and different subjects depending on what you're in the mood for and such like that.
Nice.
Yeah. And you're talking about moms. One of the chapters in here, let me see how it's titled. Yeah. 5 Gifts from My Mother.
I love it.
Yes, it was a time I was giving a talk and I knew my mom was in the audience and I did this as a sort of honor to her 5 important lessons that I learned from her. and definitely, one of them was that kind of positivity, like that was sort of like a no complaining viewpoint, no complaining mentality, and definitely like my mom was such a big influence on me, and yes, this is kind of like that one chapter, sort of a tribute to her.
It's beautiful. Good job. See, and she raised a good boy that actually knew that he should acknowledge his mom. So there you go.
Absolutely.